All right. Welcome back, everyone. Happy August 18th. We are so excited to be back. This is Dads and Ed. If you have not joined us before, first of all, where have you been? We've been on for like 7 months.
That's right.
So we apologize that we feel bad that you haven't been joining us. We're excited that you're here. Next time, bring a friend. We've got plenty of room because we do this on the internet. If you haven't seen the show before, or if you forgot who our friendly faces are, my name is Josh Allen. I actually have a new position, which if you would follow us in July, you would know that I'm the Tech Integration Specialist at Lewis Central Community Schools, just outside of Council Bluffs, Iowa. I have 3 wonderful kids. I can officially say that they are 6, now 4, and 1, and one beautiful wife who is not here. I have successfully put down all 3 kids, although one of them is not in her bed. She's in the chair that I was rocking her in. I'm not sure how she did that. There, and I'm down here, and we'll see about the 6-year-old. I'm not sure if he's even sleeping yet. So, gentlemen, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Brent Catlett. I've moved since the last show. I'm now currently in Independence, Missouri, a suburb of Kansas City, as the technology director for Independence Public Schools. I'm really excited to be here, and hoping my internet holds up. So this is questionable for me. Usually it's Josh, but I'll take the ante tonight. If I have to go over to 3G and Wi-Fi, Sprint, I'll do it. But anyway, I've got 4 kids, and breaking news on the show, I've got one on the way.
Whoa, wait a minute. You didn't even tell us that.
I thought I might pull that out on you guys tonight. Due February 18th. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Look at that.
Thank you.
We need the surprise music. Where's the,
Yeah,
just
we
not
don't
ready.
have, sound effects ready.
We weren't. Far from the course.
You know, as a basketball coach, I thought, I get my starting 5 together. So now Kennedy can run the point guard, and then we got 3 boys taking care of business, and we'll see what this 5th one ends up. If it's a girl, we'll probably put her at the shooting guard. If it's a boy, we'll figure something out depending on size, So, but yeah, I haven't even busted that one out on Facebook yet. It's not Facebook or Instagram official.
All right.
But it is Dads and Ed official coming at you.
Very cool. Well, congratulations. That's I have no idea how anybody could ever have 5 kids. I have 2, and I can't imagine having 1 additional kid. So, well, that's awesome. Congratulations, Brent.
Thank you.
I'm Devin Schoening, and after everything last year, I'm in the exact same place, same house I was sitting in before, same job I was sitting in before. I'm an instructional technology coach, K-12 instructional technology coach in Council Bluffs, Iowa. I have 2 great kids. Actually, I have an extra kid here tonight. My wife's not here, so taking care of all 3 kids. And so they're 8 and 10. We don't go back to school for another week, so they're enjoying their last week off. My lovely wife is off planning for school, though, so I guess that's something. So, yeah, I'm really I'm psyched to be going back at it tonight. I've kind of been missing it for the last month or 2. I thought, we'll get going now, and then we didn't. So I'm happy to get going back at it.
Yeah, it's amazing how many things that come up during our time off, as people like to say. And speaking of that time off, number one, I do not even have the water cooler music, so my apologies, Bobby Boucher, for not making him a part of the show tonight. But let's talk about a little bit about your summer. Brent, you said you moved, you had a kid. No, you didn't have a kid. Never mind. Let's just move on with that point. So what else did you do this summer, Brent?
Well, hey, I see Steven Souders piping in on Twitter already, the Dads and Ed hashtag, and he says, please describe ourselves as traders. So I am a trader to the Nebraska Big Red Country and have moved to Kansas City, as I mentioned. And so, yeah, that was a big part of my June, preparing for that. And my wife kind of lined up a rental property here. So as we, kind of found something, or trying to find something, I should say, as we get settled in down here. So it's been a big change for us, but exciting at the same time. We're really enjoyed exploring Kansas City and and all it has to offer over the summer since we have gotten here in the end of June. I started July the 1st, so that was a little shock to my system, you know, because I was kind of used to having my summers off, and so that's definitely shocked me a bit, to be completely honest with you. But the kids, and my wife's going to stay home with the kids, which is a blessing, and they've just been enjoying time with their mom, which is really, as a dad, has made me, you know, the stress has just kind of dropped off in the realm of our daycare situation. So somehow then along the way, God has blessed us with another one on the way, and it was a little unexpected, but we're going to roll with it. You know, I mean, what are you going to do? It's a blessing, and like I said, I always wanted to start at 5 anyway, my own, so we'll just make it happen.
That's awesome. We seems like we've been all over the place. We spent 2 weeks in California on family vacation. I have family that lives in Southern California, and so we flew out there, and then we drove up north and went to Sequoia National Park and Yosemite and San Francisco. Spent Father's Day at AT&T Ballpark in San Francisco watching the Giants. Then we drove back down the coast and went whale watching and hit up the beach a few days. Spent another week in Southern California. So we did all that, and you know, kind of the fun thing for that is between my wife and I and my oldest daughter, for sure, my youngest daughter a little bit. On Instagram, we use the hashtag Showcation to kind of bring all of our pictures together from the entire trip. So it's pretty cool now to go back and look and go to Instagram and put in our vacation hashtag and look back at all the things we did. And then we spent a few days down in Kansas City and went to Worlds of Fun and Oceans of Fun. And I've been in Illinois twice for work and Davenport for a week. So it felt like a really quick summer. We just have been kind of all over the place, and it seems like we haven't been home for very long. We were talking the other day about we've spent the least number of days at the pool this year that we've ever spent, just because we haven't been home very much. So it's been a fun traveling summer. It's been kind of hard to get myself cranked back up for work here.
Yeah, you know, and I love, like, you know, connecting with you guys on those social medias and be able to follow your families that way. And I know I snuck in a couple weekend trips to the Ozarks myself, and it was fun. You know, like particularly the redwoods, Devin. I don't know why, but that's one of those on my bucket list. I'd love to see. That just looked and sounded from your, you know, stuff that it was awesome. So very fun to follow along.
The giant Sequoia National Park, they were unbelievable, and it's one of those things that I don't know that I've ever seen anything that was just kind of a natural element that was as amazing or majestic as being near those giant sequoias, because you just can't fathom it. Even looking at pictures, you can't fathom how big they are. And so it was just an amazing couple of days that we spent in that area, just kind of traipsing around and seeing what we could see for the day or two that we spent there. So yeah, they were incredible. I would tell you, make sure you get out there at some point.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I should mention too, I got a new iPhone just before we moved, right? And the day I moved, my cousin's husband, Jeff, I got to give him a shout out. He helped me, and I mean, without him, I wouldn't have got the move done. And anyway, we rent this big, huge U-Haul, my father-in-law's truck and trailer. We come down to Kansas City, and it's, of course, like 1,000,000 degrees. We're sweating. I probably lost 10 pounds. But anyway, which is a good thing. I could lose another 10. But I decided to sit down on the porch with my brand new iPhone that's like 4 days old, and on the steps, and take a look at where to take the U-Haul back. And it slips from my sweaty hands, and of course hits the deal, cracks, and because I didn't have a case for it yet. So, oh boy, it's been a summer. I tell you what, it's been a summer.
Mine's not been nearly all that eventful. We took a couple short trips, which is nice. I actually taught for a week out in North Platte. I might have mentioned that the last time we were here, but then the kids got to go stay with their in-law or stay with their grandparents for a while, which was nice. Took a couple of the short vacations. Our big event of the summer hasn't happened yet. We had our 10th anniversary about a month ago, and the day of our anniversary, my wife surprises me with these 2 rocking chairs to put out on the porch, because we always talk about that's what we want to do when we retire. And she's like, "Oh, let's just sit out there now, you know, and all this stuff." Well, we don't usually do gifts even for anniversaries, just a little card or whatever. So that's all I had. because I had planned a surprise hot air balloon ride for that Saturday night, and so needless to say, it was a little awkward, trying to wait for 2 days when it's your 10th anniversary and your wife spent all this money on you when she normally doesn't, and you show up with a card. And so, long story short, we still have not gone on the balloon ride. The first time it was too windy. The last time it was it was a threat of rain, which it did not rain that night. So Sunday, the guy calls and he says, well, you guys don't weigh enough, so we can't go because it's too hot, yada, yada, yada. I'm not joking. About 20 minutes ago, my dad texted and said, hey, we were out last night when you were supposed to be on your balloon ride, and we saw some hot air balloons up in the air. So I don't know anything about hot air balloon rides. I know this guy's, kind of a homegrown operation type of thing. He's not a big corporation. Well, he said that the only people that help him out is his parents, who are like 60. So he's like, oh, we could get up, but if we have any trouble, I'm not sure, I can correct it and all this other stuff. I know nothing about hot air balloon rides, so I'm taking his word for it. I have no desire. I don't like heights at all. I don't want to do this at all. So now this just dragging it out is killing me. It's on my wife's bucket list, so whatever you say, honey, I'll do it. But I don't know. And Coach Sauter, yes, my father-in-law took my son to Cody go-karts because my son is obsessed with cars and driving things. So.
That whole balloon thing sounds, especially if you're not all that thrilled with heights, which I'm not really either. But I don't know if I'd want to go up and with the guy who says, I know I can get us up in the air. I'm not so sure once we get up there that I can get us down. That's a little scary.
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. And I told him, I said, I don't. We were talking about it early on. I said, I don't want to do this at all. I just want you to know this. I don't like heights. He goes, oh, people tell me that all the time. And they always come back, oh, that was it? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to say that's it. Because especially you're not, enclosed in anything. You're in a basket. You can stick your arm out. At least in a plane, which I don't like flying either, but at least in a plane, you can kind of pretend that you're not in the air for a little while, except when you take off and land. But
right.
I don't know. We'll see. Okay, let's move on to Dad Moment of the Week, and then we're going to bring in our special guest, Joe Mazza. We are, as many of you have seen on Twitter, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge is going around. My now least favorite co-host, Devin Schoening, called me out about it to do the challenge. And so last night we did. I brought the kids in. The kids helped out. And I decided to let my son pick someone because I thought, well, that'd be really cool because he's back to school. He's probably going to pick one of his teachers, And so he did. He picked his PE teacher. I was really hoping for his principal, but unfortunately he picked the PE teacher. But Mr. Kimball did an awesome job. He just posted it tonight right before Maddox went to bed, so Maddox got to see his teacher dump it. When he went to school today, he said that one of the other PE teachers was talking about it because they actually have two there, and so Maddox thought that was pretty cool. And his PE teacher actually called out the other specialists there at my son's school to do the ice bucket challenge as well. So hopefully that picks up at his school. I've kind of gone back and forth about how much did we talk about what ALS is, because I don't know how much a sixth grader is really going to understand. But my hope is that I was actually talking to somebody today about it, and they're like, oh, everybody's going to be doing stuff like this now. Well, I hope that because the kids are involved in that experience, that down the road they can say, oh, yeah, I remember when we did that ice bucket one, and then we can talk a little bit more about, why you fundraise for these types of things, and why you have to raise awareness and what some of these things are. We do. My mom is a breast cancer survivor, and we do the Komen race with her every year. And they don't really know why we do it per se, but it's those types of activities that hopefully they'll catch on to later.
Yeah, we had similar. So when I did it, I had my daughter helping, and she wanted to do it. And back to your point about talking to them about it, when she said she wanted to do it, I said that was fine. We talked about the donating money, and they both decided to donate a little bit of their own money, $5 or $10 to do that. But what they did is we made sure to go back and talk a little bit about what ALS was. We didn't spend a ton of time on it. I mean, she's young, she's 8, but we did talk about what it is and kind of what it causes to happen to the body, and the fact that there isn't a cure and that nobody knows why you get it. And so it was an opportunity for learning. So that's kind of the way we did it. And your video was great. I'm glad that Brent's was great. It was kind of fun to get that. And Jason Markey is doing his tomorrow. I saw he sent a tweet today that I challenged him to do it. And he said he's doing something great. He's involving the kids from his school to be in on it. And he said he's trying to be, have one that's better than Bill Gates's. If you haven't seen Bill Gates, the one that he did, it was pretty sweet. So he said he's going to try and best that. But my dad moment of the week, aside from the ice dumping, was my oldest daughter. She's 10. She got a cell phone this summer, and so she was being a little rebellious, and she got a Samsung Galaxy S5 when we're iPhone and Apple folks in this house, but she's being a little rebellious 10-year-old. But one of the reasons we got is we don't have a home phone, and she's home alone a little bit occasionally for short periods of time. But one of the ancillary things I think you get is you get that opportunity to connect, and she had a friend who she was kind of showing us text messages yesterday, and the friend's parents were getting divorced, and her friend was kind of distraught about this, and it was really cool to see this interaction that my 10-year-old had with her friend, and the things that she was saying to her to try and make her feel better, and to be empathetic and just be a good friend. And it's one of those things that without that connection, without that piece, it's not there. I mean, they don't see each other that much in the summertime. They live in Council Bluffs, away from us, so they don't really talk all that much in the summertime. But this was an opportunity to read these text messages from her, between her and her friend. It was really a moment for my wife and I are both standing there, just a moment to be proud of our daughter for the way she was handling the situation, the way she was being a supportive friend. And whether the phone was, people can agree or disagree on whether or not a 10-year-old should have her own cell phone. But boy, that was enough for me. Even aside from all the other things, that was enough to say, you know what, this can be a really good thing, a thing to strengthen friendships, and a thing to strengthen some of those connections we have between people. So that was mine. It was just kind of a cool thing last night as we were looking over her shoulder. So
very cool. A couple of things struck me as you guys were talking. It's kind of fun to go last sometimes. But the first thing is interesting, with like the Ice Bucket Challenge and social media, and maybe we'll get into this with Joe a little bit too, but it's just interesting how certain things take fire, and kind of go viral. And like you were saying, Josh, how somebody said, well, everybody's going to be doing something like this, and it's probably true. There's that copycat idea, but then why is it that something goes over something else? It's so interesting to me. But I haven't seen Bill Gates. I'll have to check that out, and I look forward to Jason's because, he's just isn't he like the best principal in the sense of like with his kids? And I mean, I've been lucky enough to meet the guy, and we've had him on Dads and Ed, and it's like just fantastic. And then another thing that struck me was, our previous Dads and Ed guest, Greg Doyle, wrote an amazing post on ALS that we've shared and had him on the show as well. And it's kind of interesting how all of it ties together with some of the things we've done on the show, even when you kind of look at it from the outside perspective. But anyway, so moving on to my Dads and Ed moment of the week. For me, Dad moment of the week. I mentioned I spent some time in the Ozarks here and there over the summer, a little bit mostly on weekends for me this year. But I got down there this last weekend. Today's Monday, so I was just got back Sunday. Anyway, on Sunday, so this would have been yesterday, I was able to take 3 of the 4 kids, not my youngest little guy, who was 1, he was sleeping. But I took the other 3 out on the boat, just me, and my wife, of course, stayed home with the little guy, and got to go out on the lake and allow them to drive. And it was a really calm, quiet morning on the lake, and the kids were driving the boat, and we took turns. And I just remember as a kid doing that with my dad and watching my brother do it and my sister, and how much it meant to us. So it was quite the moment for me to be in that scenario with my kids and sharing that same kind of thing that I was, given the opportunity as a kid, which I cherished. And so now I'm kind of passing that on to my kids, and that love of boating in the Ozarks and all of that. And that was part of my reason for moving to Kansas City in the first place, was strategically placing myself closer to the lake. I go from 5 hours to 2.5, and yet I'm still 2.5 from Omaha and home, basically, where my parents still are, and my sister's family, and my wife's families. But anyway, so that was a great moment for me. I told my wife, we got on the water a couple times with the kids, and that makes the trip worthwhile to me, because my 1-year-old is not exactly the best in the vehicle at this point. The other kids are great, but we thank gosh for the minivan I purchased with the DVD player. That thing is just amazing. And I'll say that on Dad's Net all the way to the bank, because best purchase I ever made. But anyway, so yeah, that was my moment. I really enjoyed and just kind of soaked up with the kids.
Very cool.
All right, gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome it. This is our first guest since like May or something like that. We are finally bringing some way smarter people to the fold, and we are joined tonight. Yeah, we're raising the bar, Joe. Get ready. Joe Mazza is here. Joe, why don't you introduce yourself to the thousands of listeners that we have, both here and after the fact?
How you guys doing?
Good.
Thanks for having me. Nice to talk to y'all, and Brent, congratulations.
Thank you.
We are also expecting right around the same time, so
Fabulous.
good stuff. February, I think end of February is our date.
Very cool.
We've got
now, Joe, how many kids do you have, Joe?
So far, we've been lucky enough to have one with one on the way. So I got a boy that's turning 2 in about a month. That he thinks he's turning 7, but he's turning 2, and he's a lot of fun. I've learned so much in the last 3 years. It's been unbelievable. But I'm working at the University of Pennsylvania now. I spent the previous 14 years of my career working in K-12 as a third-grade teacher, an assistant bilingual principal, a middle school assistant, and then a lead learner principal at Knapp Elementary School for the last 7 years. So I am fresh to the higher ed field and really enjoying it after the first month and a half here as we head into the second half of August. But it's just a pleasure to be talking with you guys, and enjoyed listening along during the first half here, and getting to know each of you, and how it seems like happy wife, happy life for each of you with some of the things that you've been up to. So excited to talk to you guys tonight.
That's the show motto. I'm glad you picked up on that.
Well, Joe, we joked that we haven't had a guest since May, and we haven't told anyone. We actually tried to get you in June, but apparently you thought Alaska would be a little bit better option than hanging out with us. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing up in Alaska.
Well, we our doctoral program at Penn, we have obviously some students from all over the country. We've got one in Alaska this year. We also know that there's different conferences that we present at, and we facilitate some social media lounges happening around the country. And Alaska happened to be the Higher Ed Teaching and Learning Conference up in Anchorage, which gave us an opportunity to go up there and spend some time on the ground learning. We also spent some time learning from some teachers and some staffers that really their day-to-day work is to reduce the highest youth suicide rate in the United States up there. It's just completely, it's unbelievable. The work that they're doing to to really prevent that happening. So we spent 4, 5, 6 days up there, and really enjoyed it. It was beautiful. The last day I got to tour around a little bit. Got to meet a moose close up, get a little selfie with the moose, and
Nice.
really enjoyed that experience a whole lot. So yeah, I apologize couldn't be with you guys back then, but happy to be here tonight and chat with you guys.
That's an acceptable excuse. So, we were talking a little bit about the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge in the first part of the show here, and you recently wrote a post about it, including kind of 5 things that educators can take away from it. What kind of sparked that post, and what did you want people to take away from that?
Well, I'm trying to find who hasn't done it. When I look through my Facebook news feed, it's just complete entertainment, and it's locking in people of all ages, all over the United States. And there are some people that I feel like haven't posted in months or years on Facebook, but yep, I saw their Ice Bucket Challenge video. So I think it's brought to life how easy it is to do something creative and clever around a very serious and worthwhile, idea. I mean, ALS is a really nasty, nasty disease, and no one in my family that I know of is affected by that. But I have got close friends that do have people that are either family or close friends of them. Tom Murray, I was just talking to him earlier today. He's not too far away from where we are up in Quakertown. But he's got one of his friends, the Snyders, and he posted on his Facebook page, hey, if you're participating and you'd like to consider donating directly to someone, then you can donate directly to their medical expenses because they've been battling it. And there's a website that I'll post here in the window in case anybody wants to kind of dig a little bit deeper. And instead of just making a general donation, they can go kind of right to the actual place where those folks are working really hard to raise enough funds just to continue to survive it. He's got 2 beautiful kids and a wife, and I just couldn't imagine dealing with anything else right now than what I'm dealing with. Just being a rookie dad and an educator with a new job and another baby on the way. So my hearts go out to all those affected, and hopefully this is shedding some light on how real easy it is to kind of share using social media and not just raise funds but raise awareness. I think when I read on the ALS website yesterday, they had raised over $12 million now. In the same window of 2 or 3 weeks last year, it was like 1.6 or something like that. So, I think you're going to see more efforts like this. Dealing with disease, dealing with other forums, other things that can go viral. But my message in my video was really, hey, this is great, and I'm trying to do everything I can. I'm trying to donate money, do the Ice Bucket Challenge. There's obviously a lot of posts out there saying, hey, this is great, but are people really donating? All the people that are pouring ice on their heads, and yeah, of course we donated, but I think that teachers and principals and others that work in schools should take some notes about the level of engagement of today's youth in this whole experience. Not only from a social media side, but also, bringing to light some of these efforts that are going on where, these kids come to school and they don't have another care in the world besides their homework at night. There's an awful lot of people of all ages dealing with an awful lot.
I just want to jump in real quick, Joe. We did post that link in our Twitter feed, and we'll include it in our podcast too, to the direct fundraising for ALS.
Great.
Go, Brent. Is he frozen?
Yeah, Joe, I was kind of mentioning that just before you came on. No?
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Sorry,
testing.
My internet's terrible. I think Josh jinxed me, though. But anyway, I'm kind of fascinated with it, and I was kind of mentioning earlier how, and you've really articulated that well. I'm really impressed with just kind of what you were saying, and I agree with your blog post in the sense of what could be done with schools and just the embracing of social media. In so many schools and districts, it's not embraced. And since I started in Independence, we've really made some noise with Twitter with the hashtag ISD Strong, which stands for Independent School District Strong. I just kind of came up with to go with. But anyway, and the teachers are rallying around that. And just before we got on the show, I watched a teacher, a third grade teacher from my district, Allison Mallums, on Twitter. She's A.L. Mallums, and she's from a school called Fairmount. She did it with her class, and the kids all dumped a single glass on the 2 teachers, and and I just thought, how cool, because I'm assuming that there were lessons around it and that sort of thing for those students. And So anyway, I don't know if I have a question per se. As just, you've done a lot of work with parents and that sort of thing too, and maybe we could transition into that and some of the stuff you've been doing with social media and parents and the PT chat and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, Brent, and I was listening earlier. You're in Kansas City now, and my dad lives over near the airport over there, so he's always
Cool.
running around. He's a handy guy, so if you ever need anybody to fix anything, I'll give you his number.
Okay, that would be
Definitely.
great.
I wish he was around here to help me. I did not get those skills. Yeah, I'll hook you up with his number when we're done here.
Awesome.
But yeah, you know what? It's really interesting. Talking about family and community engagement. Sorry, Johnny Football's on over here. I just want to check him out. I think he's going to win the starting job. See what you guys think a little bit. But the whole family engagement piece for me came through my dissertation. Before I did the dissertation, studying how school principals use social media to connect home and school, I didn't have any more experience or expertise in engaging families than anyone else, in my district or my school. I hate that word expert. I think that, all of us have to be experts in our own class for our own schools. Just because I knew what was going on at NAP and I knew how to respond to the needs of those families doesn't mean that, I know how to do that at your school, or your school. So I think it's really about all of us becoming experts of our own stakeholders and really doing a lot of listening to make sure that happens. And obviously we're in August right now, so it's really a great opportunity to be proactive about how we're going to do that this year. And what are the ways that we're gonna solicit feedback from our families, whether it's face to face or a hard copy survey or a survey using technology, and a variety of different communications. We call it a menu of communications that we offer. Just like we walk into a restaurant, we see a bunch of foods, and we're not going to pick the same thing every time. Maybe we do, but typically we'll pick whatever we're feeling like eating that day. And I think that we need to look at the way we communicate with our families in the same way, because they're not all the same. They don't all respond the same. We're all dads, and we see information differently. We respond differently, and I think that's really important that we recognize and try to meet families where they are instead of trying to shove whatever we think is best down their throats. Again, at the end of the day, it's about relationships, and the families appreciate you, the school, all the work, and will have a higher likelihood of partnering with you if they feel that you're making an extra effort to engage them. I'm a innovator. I'm a tech geek. I love to see how technology can kind of amplify what we do on a day-to-day basis in schools. Obviously, innovation and technology don't necessarily go together. Low-tech innovations like home visits, are a lot of times more effective than anything else that we do to get to know families. So, for me, I'm just always looking at what can we do better tomorrow. Because that's never going to end. We're never going to stop. Wondering what we can do better today versus tomorrow.
I like your point about, it has to kind of be a mix of stuff, and I think that you're right on that, everyone learns a little differently. Do you have schools up there, do you see them utilizing social media for some of that parent-teacher communication? I know my previous district really got on the Facebook bandwagon and has done quite a bit with that, which I think has been really good. And like you said, it's definitely not the only way. But do you see your schools kind of up in that area or that you work with taking advantage of that?
I think it's coming along. Just like a lot of us educators got on Twitter after we saw, publications, associations joining, saying it's okay, webinars, the Department of Education, Arnie Duncan, all these different things that happen. Change is slow, but I think folks are coming along. My new role as Leadership Innovation Manager at the University of Pennsylvania is developing digital leadership skills within prospective school principals and school superintendents. Leadership can be the deal maker, deal breaker with all of this stuff. So really trying to make sure that they have that lens, in grad school, and they can, have grad school from Friday through Sunday, and then when they go back into their learning organizations on Monday, they have even more of a lens, where they can, find ways to identify the teacher leaders in their schools that really get this and see through this lens and activate that. encourage them to put on their own ed camps and unconferences, and really just kind of develop a new level of innovation, within the program, within the university in this area.
With that, you kind of mentioned it a little bit there, but there was another post on your blog recently about something called Parent Camp. And obviously the Ed Camp movement has kind of taken off. Can you talk a little bit about what Parent Camp is and how you've seen that utilized in places around you?
Yeah, sure. You can go to parentcamp.org, and it's got a lot more information that I'm going to be able to share with you in a couple minutes here. But we had an Ed Camp at Knapp Elementary School several times. The first time we did it, we left the big board up. Have you guys been to an Ed Camp before?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So, during an Ed Camp, for those that don't know, there's a huge board of sessions that happen, and at the end, when people have proposed those, you see this whole board full of, sessions on a variety of different things, not just about technology. It's really about, for us, it was about things that align to our school goals. It was about things that our teachers were passionate about. It was about home and school. It was about Common Core. It was about Daily 5 and literacy and whatnot. So later that night, after that Knapp Camp, as we called it that day, and you can find that post under hashtag Knapp Camp or Ed Camp comes to Knapp Elementary School. We left the board up during the home and school meeting so I could articulate to those parents what we did during the day. And we started fielding some questions about, it was interesting. It was something brand new. It was something that, our families hadn't seen before. So we started, asking them, hey, would you be interested in participating in something like this? We, to our knowledge, it had never been done. So we planned for the next 4 months this parent camp, and then we made it happen. And I think we had about 177 people come out on a Saturday morning at Knapp Elementary School, and it took off from there. And now we're trying to, kick off other parent camps around the country. I'm going to be working in Kentucky in November to kick off their parent camp. We're going to include a parent camp as a part of the National Family and Community Engagement Conference in Chicago later this June. You can follow IEL at IEL Connects to learn more about that. It's going to be, I think, the 25th or the 27th of June. So we're just trying to spread it and really give people the skills to do it in their own school districts. These Ed Camps are great. People go all over the place. There's been over 500 of them. But I think we're at a point now where hopefully we're able to get enough people there where they can come back into their school districts, be the leaders that their organizations need, and put them on in their own organizations. So we can expose our kids and our staff and our families and our leaders with them. We just did Ed Camp Leadership 2 Mondays ago here in Philadelphia at the University of Pennsylvania, and we had people from 10 states come for that free day of PD. And that's very powerful. But you don't see Ed Camp Leader happening all year long. It happens once a year, typically in July and August. So, yeah, it was great. We had it at Penn. We hosted it. We put an awful lot of funding in place to make it happen. But I would like that to happen all over the country. So some of the guys that travel from afar, we're already talking about how we might make it happen in Chicago or in San Francisco or in Nashville or some other place that hasn't had one of those, because it's about empowering the leaders and helping them see through this connected lens.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Joe, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to join us. We do have a couple more things. We're going to talk about some apps and some date night stuff. Can you stick around and join us, or do you need to take
Sure.
off?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, feel free to chime in at any time.
Before we do that, Josh, Joe mentioned talking a little bit about whether or not he thought Johnny Football was going to get the starting job in Cleveland. I think this is probably as good a time as any to mix in a little sports talk here, don't you?
The funny thing is, this afternoon I got to thinking we probably will not do another show until after the start of football season. We really should have built in that discussion. So I am more than happy to throw that in if you'd like. Do you have a specific question you want to lead with?
Well, I'd say we do. I just say let's, even if nothing else, let's go with Joe threw it out there. He thinks that Manziel is going to win the starting job. I want to hear why he thinks that's going to happen.
I don't know if he will or not. I like watching him. I think he's exciting. He's good for the game because it brings in a level of excitement to a team that's been historically terrible. so it's exciting to watch. I think they're neck and neck. They're both pretty awful tonight, so I don't know what that means. I think he obviously needs some work and he needs some experience, and he might get killed by his offensive line if he doesn't, learn how to drop every once in a while. But I'm a huge Penn State fan. My whole fall revolves around Penn State football and Eagles football. And Brent, did you say that you were a Nebraska Cornhusker?
Yeah, born and raised, my friend. I apologize.
Nightmares about 1994, my friend. We're both 12-0. No, there's no, no tiebreaker. No, we're gonna play in the game, but no, we'll both go 12-0. We'll both have great seasons, but you know what, Nebraska, you're the national championship.
Right. I know. I'm really looking forward to the playoff system. I think that's going to really change things and liven things up. I'm excited for that to start up this year.
Come on.
I know.
I see what he's doing over there. I see what he's doing.
Yeah.
Too bad I don't have the one with all of our national championships on it to put up there.
It's been a tough couple of years for Penn State, but I'm happy where we are right now. I think we're getting our mojo back, and I like the new coach and the coaching staff. And it's I remember when that whole thing happened in school with a whole bunch of teachers, because here in Pennsylvania, outside Philadelphia, you got 15, 20 teachers that either went to Penn State or have kids that are currently at Penn State, and the day after, people are like, rip up your Penn State degree. It doesn't mean anything anymore, and yada, yada, yada. You guys are a bunch of jerks. And so, yeah, it's been tough, but it's I'm just happy for those kids who, the kids on the field had nothing to do with anything, and now they're actually able to feel a little bit of momentum and success, and that's a good thing. And I'm glad everyone that, was a victim of that is getting the truth to come out and making sure that happens and sets an example for, anything that happens, in the future. But yeah, I'm a diehard Penn Stater, and I've always have been, and my wife knows that's off limits. That's the only part of the whole 12-month of anything that happens. That's those 3 hours. I've got to watch the game. I'm usually down. I'm in the man cave right now, but. That's where I gotta be, and I could hurt myself down here, but at least no one else will get hurt.
It actually looks like a cave behind you, Joe. Is this decorated as a cave as well?
You know what? I would love to give you a tour, but it's a mess right now. But yeah, I'll just describe it. It's you got a TV, you got a couch, and there's a little bar over here my father-in-law built. But basically, it's all the walls that were a part of the house with the foundation, so it's all stone and mortar, and we mortared it up, sealed all the cracks, and we painted it. Painted the ceiling black, and the walls green. It looks like an old Irish bar. And
nice.
Over there on the wall it says Mick Mazza's. That was my wife's touch. She's Irish, I'm Italian, and yeah. So this is the place. It's the place where we watch our ball games. And yeah, I'm an Eagles fan as well. And but we're bad. We're I don't know. I like our coaching staff, but we haven't done anything in so long. It's just so sad. So what about you guys? What are you here for?
You know what? I am not an NFL fan whatsoever. I don't know. I mean, I live in Nebraska. We don't really have a choice. So yes, I would not say diehard Husker fan. I kind of got overwhelmed by the annoyance in the late '90s, especially as it started to go downhill. So we go about once a year. I took my son to his first Husker game last year, and it's good. I mean, it's fun to. It's actually really funny now. I have just started working in Iowa, and so there are a lot of Iowa and Iowa State grads there, but our superintendent is from Nebraska, and so we were doing some new teacher stuff last week, and they were introducing and like where people are from, and one of them had an Iowa State shirt on or something like that, and he goes, yeah, and so is from. Well, let's just say we're both Big Ten fans. Just leave it at that. So.
That's great. That's great. You know what? I was speaking in Nebraska last year, and my first slide was the Penn State Nebraska game date. I had it circled in red. And then the last August I was in Columbus, Ohio, and that's of course that's enemy territory right there with the Huskers. So it's fun to kind of go around areas of the Big Ten and have a good time and laugh. But on game day, especially being connected to some of these people on Twitter,
it's a lot of fun in games anymore.
It really is a lot of fun having your fans as your your colleagues and your PLN, in terms of your, just the whole sports piece of all of this.
Time out. Wait a minute. When were you in Nebraska, and why didn't we know about this?
I don't know. Let's see, I think it was May of 2013.
Where were you?
Yeah. Where was I? Hang on.
It was either Omaha, Lincoln.
Yeah, I was outside of
or
Lincoln.
Kearney.
Outside of Lincoln. I was in and out of there, man. I was in and out of there. I didn't want to, I had my Penn State stuff on, so.
Yeah, we wouldn't let you stay that long.
That's the goal, is to get in and out of Nebraska as quickly as you possibly
can. Right.
Oh, I'm bummed I didn't know that.
All right, we can move on. I just wanted a little sports talk.
We will, maybe we'll do our preseason predictions after the season starts.
That'd be better for me.
Hey, do you guys have a chat? Do you have a Dads and Ed weekly chat, or bi-weekly, or monthly, or whatnot? Or is it just...
Typically what we've done is we do the live show about every 2 weeks.
Okay.
I think we didn't talk about this ahead of time, but I think we'll probably do 3 weeks, just because 2 weeks is Labor Day.
Yeah.
But no, we don't do it. We've kind of gone back and forth about how often to do it versus number one, having content, number two, navigating the rest of our lives.
Right. Well, I've got a whole slew of great dads that are educators that should be on your show, because I wish I knew more about it, and because I've been following along and watching them all along. I love the idea. I think that we need to talk more about being dads. Not necessarily educators. I think there's hundreds of chats that just specifically talk about education, but as a rookie dad, I lean on all you guys to kind of tell me what to do and tell me what works and where the landmines are and all that stuff. So I can certainly appreciate that, and it gives you a break from the day-to-day. How do we engage families? How does Twitter work? How Voxer and all these things, and just having that off-the-cuff conversation with a bunch of your buddies is helpful, and I don't think we do it enough as dads. Depending on who your relationships are with, how many neighbors that you have that have kids the same age or whatnot, or friends that you still keep in contact with. Friends change after you have kids. You don't see them as much as you did before, and if they still don't have kids, then they're not hanging out with you as much typically, right. And so that dad PLN, so to speak, becomes increasingly important.
And it's one of the things that typically comes up, and it really hasn't tonight yet until right now, which is a good segue, but is that idea about how being a dad kind of impacts each of us professionally. The decisions we make, the being on the road, all those things that being a dad and having kids impacts what we do and what we think professionally. We had Bob Dylan on. He was our first guest, Bob Dylan.
Yeah, what a great guy he is. Yeah.
Yeah, and just talking about, he was talking about a lot about, the decisions they were making in their district with their daughter about test taking.
Yep.
And he talked about, just the impact of being gone and traveling and making time for his family and still wanting to be the very best professional and part of a PLN and helping people get better. Just a great guy, and that comes up every time, and it's just such a hard balance to try and make sure we keep even.
Yeah. I just added a couple names for you guys to consider in terms of booking talent for the rest of the year, because these guys are great. They're actually a group of guys that when I first got started on Voxer about 4 months ago, these were the original guys I started talking to.
Yeah.
And we have a blast. We talk every day. A lot of it's about being dads and being husbands and all those kinds of things. And we also have some professional talk, and we can bounce ideas off each other. It's a safe place.
Mm-hmm.
Voxer has been the newest social media tool that I've been using daily. About 5-6 months ago, and but yeah, it's great. I think we should probably have a dad's Vox. Jeez.
Yeah.
And just kind of keep some of those conversations going and keep learning from each other. And but these are guys that can just make you laugh on a drop of a dime. Hysterical, because you see them in their Twitter feeds, and they're it's the serious tweet and all this dropping knowledge left and right. But then you get to know them, and they're real people, man. They're dads, they're friends, they're husbands, they're goofballs, and I fit right in with that category.
we joked when we started this up. Brent and I used to take a lot of road trips together before we moved down south, and so we've always talked about doing a podcast. And we kind of got to know Devin, and we always said that we weren't really ever into numbers because if nothing else, the three of us get to hang out, and we'll invite someone else that we want to chat with, and even if no one's watching, we can sit around and have a good time and chat about whatever. So you're right on, and as far as at least the purpose of this, we're not in it to make money. We're here to hang out and have a good time, and
Yeah.
You'll be happy to know that there are a few of those do cross the top secret future guest list that we aim for. So good to know that we're on track.
And the three of us are using Voxer as well, which gets pretty entertaining, as you know.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know what? The biggest thing is I don't waste my commute anymore.
Yeah.
My commute is hysterical, inspiring, safe.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to, I'm in Philadelphia. Our Phillies are just terrible. I mean, they should have just stopped at the All-Star break, really, and it would have probably saved a lot of people, a lot of, sweat and tears. But, there's nothing on Sports Talk right now. I can't listen. I mean, all right, we got the Eagles ramping up a little bit. There's not really a Penn State podcast or anything like that for me to listen to. So, Voxers, it's perfect. And the all time zones things. We didn't talk about PT Camp. That was a book chat on Beyond the Bake Sale. It's the Guide to Homeschool Partnerships, written back in 2007. Henderson and Mapp, and we had a global book chat, 10 time zones, 115 people that lasted 6 weeks over the summer. That the main discussion forum was on Voxer from day to day. So people could be in Australia, Singapore, Canada, California, New York, and have the same conversation with each other, and not be so mindful of the exact time having to be there live, and that's the beauty of Voxer.
Yeah.
One thing I just noticed, jumping back to Johnny Manziel, one of our local sports guys here just tweeted a picture of him. It's a screenshot from the TV, him flipping off someone behind him.
Oh, great.
Nice.
Walking on the
Well done,
role
Manziel.
model. Okay.
Well done.
Yeah, Brent, Devin, if you follow Michael Severe, he's the one who just tweeted it out.
Yeah.
To your point, Joe, about your commute and Voxer, I had read your post a while back about using Voxer as a podcast.
Yep.
And my new commute is about 30 minutes, which my neighbor from D.C. didn't really care when I started whining about it. But so Christina Peters, who's a good friend and helps me plan Ed Camp Omaha, she's got about a 30-minute drive as well. So we've started a new podcast. We haven't successfully got it up yet, but Thursday and Monday mornings we kind of do a little recap of the week, and today we did a little preview of the week. And you're right on. I mean, it doesn't seem like my commute's anything, just because we're talking about what's going on, and it's just a great way to kind of throw some ideas out and get some feedback. And I got some good feedback from her on a couple different things, and so it's a great way to spend that time.